And then I started paddle. But then I quit that too. Anyway, all right, we have another second timer here. So listen, this person, where is she? She's right here. She's right here. Oh yeah. This big personality is right behind me here. Her name is Lynn Hazen. Let's give it up. But I got a couple words to say first. I mean, I'm gonna read what's on the script, but I know her a little well. She is an amazing person. Professionally, she has been doing recruiting within the marketing industry for 25? A long time. So if you're a marketer, if you want an agency, if you're in corporate marketing, and you're looking for a marketer, you gotta call Lynn, number one, all right? So we'll get that out of the way. But she lives in Chicago. She calls herself, and I confirm, the storytelling and relationship recruiter. She's a second timer. First time was with us last year when she talked about her first time, and if you were here, it was one of the most memorable stories. So please give it up for my friend, Lynn Hazen.
Good evening. How many of you have ever been or experienced something for the first time in your life and the timing was right because something happened to you that made it magical? Have any of you ever had an experience like that? If so, on the count of 3, say yes. 1, 2, 3, yes. All right, we are in the zone together. Let me tell you why. The last time I was making chicken salad, I was in Florida last May. It was Saturday morning. I was chopping away my chicken, listening to NPR, National Public Radio. All of a sudden, I heard a voice. Mama! Papa! I dropped my knife. Oh my, that voice, I could recognize it anywhere in the world. It was my Hebrew school teacher from 2nd grade. I then said, I have to call her. We got in touch. There's more about this to come. But let me tell you about how our lives keep intersecting. When I was growing up in Montreal, I was the daughter of immigrants from Egypt and Syria. Up and down the street were other immigrants. They were survivors from the Holocaust, many of them. They were the Jews of silence. They did not talk about any of their experiences, and to this day, I still don't know many of their stories. We lived 4 houses away from the synagogue, Congregation Bethel, and I loved to sit on the lap of my teacher, watch movies about Israel, and invite my teacher, Gaveret Henya, to come to our house for family barbecues. The years passed. I graduated from McGill University, went to Brandeis University for graduate school, and then moved to Chicago in 1980 to work for the Jewish community with college students. After a few years, I changed careers and got into the business world, where I'm still today. What was interesting, however, was my passion for creative Jewish expression continued. And all those years I was involved in Jewish education, storytelling, theater, retreats, kids, seniors, high school kids, all of the above. And one summer, I decided it was time to return to a place to get my heart stroked. I attended a Jewish educators conference in the summer of 1991 at Hofstra University. It was a packed week. There were workshops and seminars all day long. Come Friday night, we'd had Friday night dinner, singing and dancing, and there were more workshops after. Imagine this scene. I walked into a room, it was late at night, and at the exact moment that I came in and sat down in the back, Danny Siegel, a noted poet, had put down his book of poems and started asking people in the audience about their family names, if they had been long names that had been shortened over time. And then he would do a commentary. Then a petite, blonde-haired woman in the front row put up her hand, and she said, "My name was Wisgardisky, and it was changed to Weiss." Danny looked at her. "Wisgardisky," he said, "I've never heard of such a name." I put up my hand in the back. I'm not shy, as you can tell. And I said, well, Wisgardisky couldn't have been that unusual, because when I was a little girl, I had a Hebrew school teacher whose name was Wisgardisky, and she said we could call her Geveret Henya. The petite blonde-haired woman in the front row jumped out of her chair, and she said, "That was me!" Oh. I ran up to the front. "Yes, yes, it's me!" We started to hug. We were kissing. We were hugging. The whole room was in an uproar. Can I have an uproar, everybody? 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's what happened. And they said to me, "How long has it been since you've seen each other?" And I'm standing there. I have to do oral math in the middle of all of this. And then I realized that she was my wonderful teacher. And she said, come with me. And we went off to the side. And we started to recreate our stories that had brought us together. I did not know that when she was a little girl, she grew up in Lithuania. She was a little girl, a year and a half old, when the Nazis invaded Lithuania. And her parents were in the ghetto with her. 2 years passed. It was getting scary. People by the thousands were being killed. Her parents hatched up a plan to save their daughter's life. They drugged Henya and put her in a suitcase and put her in a truck. And they knew that the guard guarding the truck had his bayonet, and he was going to stab that suitcase. So Henya's mother took her gold watch and her red boots and bribed the guard to save her daughter's life. And Henya was in the suitcase in the truck. Her father then drove the truck into town and met Mr. Stankevich, a Christian man who took Henya on to be his third daughter. And she had to agree, as a little girl, not to use her name and to cross herself to become a little Christian girl and to go to services in the church. She also made a promise never to speak Yiddish. After the war, Henya and her parents were reunited. They went to a DP camp in Germany, Israel, and eventually Montreal. She was my Hebrew school teacher, and that is Geveret Henya. Tonight I share Geveret Henya's story because her story makes history come alive. And it's important for all of us sitting here to understand that my story plus her story equals our story for all of us to pass from one generation to the next. Toda Rabba. Thank you, Geveret Henya.
Let's give it up for Lynn and Henya. Geveret Henya. Wow. Thank you, Lynn. You know, we had a rule that we